What's the best example of women not understanding a man's body that you've ever heard? Not really related, but I had a female friend of mine coming with me to the gym. She wanted to try it out. Said she didn't want to bother me, so to just go through my regular workout. As I'm doing an exercise for the lats, I mention that it's a muscle I find hard to feel. She wants to try and really can't feel it moving. So I show her which muscle is contracting by touching her, like, can you feel this one moving? She can't. Not for lack of trying, she just doesn't feel it. Which is kinda normal. That's when she goes, must be one of those muscles women don't have. I initially thought it was a joke, but no. She really figured that being unable to feel it contract meant that women don't have lats. Upon asking her why would she think that men and women have different sets of muscles, she said that men are stronger because they are bigger, but also because they have more muscle, and genuinely thought that more muscle meant that we actually have entire muscle groups women don't have. She is so sweet and has a PhD. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I guess because there are plenty of different body parts between men vs women already, so it's not that far of a stretch for men and women to have some different muscles. Still, that's pretty unreal that she thought that, haha. Someone asked earlier on this subreddit today if our balls actually feel empty or full, lol. Mine are full, lol. Full of pee. Nearly ripping my foreskin off during a hand job. Yeah, it's okay to squeeze hard, for me anyways. Just don't pull down hard. A woman thought a good hand job was rubbing my D between the palms of her hands, like she was trying to start a fire. After that there wasn't really a spark between us. She didn't rub hard enough, or your D wasn't dry enough for sparks. Common mistakes. Look for dicks that have gotten caught in tree branches of otherwise aren't lying on the ground. They tend to be much drier and you'll have an easier time getting sparks. A female fellow student asked if there's a bone in our penises. I'm very sad with the sex education today. Some don't get the fact that we have no control over our erections. On a side note, what age do you start getting random erections that you can't control? I know it happens when you're young, but I'm wondering at what age my little boy will start having to deal with them at school. Is it in primary, elementary, school, or secondary/high school? Well, I have 3 boys ranging from 3 to 5, and they get random boners all the time, so probably going to happen more often than you think. But when you are a young boy you don't generally think about it much. Erection and arousal are not the same thing, especially during foreplay. Most men do experience variations in hardness that can be quite substantial. That doesn't mean that he doesn't like what's happening. So, if he goes soft, don't panic. And do not go harder or faster if he doesn't want you to. Same goes for erectile dysfunction for that matter. Just because it won't stand up does not mean he's turned off by you. And closely related, it is as sensible as your clit. If you would not like a certain degree of friction on the clit, he probably doesn't like it on his dick. Stop strangling dicks is all I'm saying. Depends on the guy. I've told my ex and my GF, if they are going to give me a HJ, to beat it like they are beating eggs. My little guy enjoys a bit of punishment. The idea that a man will and can get hard at any moment or breeze. Yay. It doesn't just happen like that. Taking off your clothes doesn't guarantee anything. Women have generally a very skewed sense of reality with those things. Like with dating. Because they tend to mostly wait passively for an interested guy to be head over heels for them. In such scenarios, with first experiences of sex being usually around younger ages, rapidly increasing last 20 years though, it's called the sexless generation for a reason, so you can see how those two things add together to reinforce a lot of the unrealistic expectations of romance and sex women have in here. One example is boners, as men tend to initiate sex, steer the sex, be the active one. You can see how most women don't have experience with sex that's not already initiated by a hard and horny man. Dating norms. Women think dating those who ask them out increase their odds of success. Men see that the ones who ask them out are either pickup artists or people already in love. Again, you can see how this warps women's perception of men wildly. even leading to some believing most men only want sex from them, because most women only give sex wanting men most opportunities. Girls trying to ride a completely flaccid dick. Like girl, it's not gonna work. That's where grinding comes into play. Gamma changer honestly, it's better for both men. Husband, stop squeezing my balls. It hurts. Wife, no, she gonna become an ex-wife pretty soon if that's me. The placement of testicles when standing versus sitting. They may look like they are on the front of a man's body when standing, but they, like large breasts on women, do need somewhere to go when the body changes position. A man typically can only sit with his legs nearly close together if he reaches down his pants and pulls his ballsack up as he sits. No one wants to see this happen in real time, unless a man has a small, tight ballsack that they need to go somewhere, and keeping one's thighs slightly apart has to be done, or the balls will get squished or won't move to the proper place when sitting. Balls don't stay on the front of a man's body when sitting. They pretty much drop down right between his legs. So when a man has a slightly open stance when he sits, that's normal. That is not to say that a man can have 2.5 feet between his knees when he sits, but 12 inches between his knees is perfectly normal and needs to be an acceptable thing. See, I have no issues with ball placement when my legs are together. They just kind of find a spot. The issue I find with keeping my legs together is the outside muscle / tendon / whatever it is if my upper leg gets sore doing it for even a short amount of time and I need to relax my position a bit. Using too much teeth during blowjobs. Women don't understand how sensitive these things are. Chick I dated once asked how much my balls shrank after I took a piss. Sometimes it can get pretty funny. I had a girl once, 23-year virgin. When we lay down in bed she touched the D and asked what's it for. For real? Yes, I managed to explain it to her. That's actually terrifying though, because imagine if her first experience touching a D was with someone who was a horrible person. No one should have that little knowledge at that age, especially a young woman. I was baffled about how many women don't know about showers and growers. I work EMS, and we made a run on a naked guy. After the run, 2 of my female coworkers were joking about the size of his D. I tried explaining to them about growers and showers, and that his D may have been bigger when hard. They clearly didn't have a clue what I was talking about, nor did they care. Good to know that your coworkers have such professional attitudes. Sid reminds me of that story from a few years ago where a nurse told her colleagues one of their elderly patients had a huge penis, and all the women nurses made up excuses to go look at it for themselves one by one. I like they were all fired. Good to know that size does really matter. Yup. Shrinkage. Once one girl asked me that if she cut man's duck would it keep being hard still. I tried to explain that it's the blood that makes it hard. Worst part is that she is last year in nursery. She is in nursery school. Yes, she was actually. This happened like 3 years ago. This may be the worst example of misinterpreted language I've ever witnessed. Having to graphically explain to my ex-Mill why I can't wear the boxers she kept gifting me when I earn a living bouncing around cross-country on motorbikes 3-5 hours a day. Why was a Mill buying new boxers or any underwear anyway? Christmas/birthday gifts. She found the bag of them ready to be donated unworn. She had this theory that people only buy as gifts something they really wanted themselves, so that was the best she could come up with. And no, I never ever asked the connection. Then she switched to box chocolates, and I'm lactose intolerant lol. Sounds like she was trying to prevent your swimmers having a chance and decided to go to straight out murder. The joke about man flu. I've been that sick that I can't get up for a pee, let alone food, water or a shower, and not one GF believes that I'm actually ill. Thankfully haven't been that sick for a few years now, but used to be 1 or 2 weeks a year. This has always fascinated me. Once every couple years I'm too sick to function. Both my sister and my wife on the other hand need several days a month to recover from unbearable menstruation. Not at all discounting their pain, but leave me to F alone. I'm not a man. but I once heard a woman tell the story of how she'd found her boyfriend's inguinal canal while giving him a hand job. She thought he'd like it if she shoved her finger in there with some force. Spoiler, he did not enjoy it. He doubled over in pain and threw up. What is that? It's where your balls go when you see another guy taking a shot to his family jewels. Ever gotten a hand job? No, never. If it hurts when sleeping on my stomach. Woman here. Does it? The pain is excruciating. /fuck no lol. Why would it hurt? Hurts most of us to sleep on our stomach because boobs. But I guess it doesn't hurt you guys despite your balls. I mean, it's a legit question. We've never experienced sleeping on our stomachs as men. So how would we know if it hurts or not? Nice to know that boobs are more sensitive than balls, so men can shut up about that. Anything to do with testicles? No, they don't store sperm or pee. They don't just float around in there. They are attached and can even get twisted. It's okay if they're not round or uniform. Yes, it does hurt that bad. It's also normal to have one bigger than the other two. Hey bud, I think we need to talk about how many you consider as normal. Just ask any woman how to please a man. The ignorance that follows will blow your mind. I know this one. Chocolate peanut butter lava cake. Works every time. Who are you so wise in the ways of science? I'm Arthur, King of the Britons. Well, I didn't vote for you. Manspreading. Men do tend to take up more space than necessary, but it's almost alarming to see just how many women don't know that closing our legs is physically uncomfortable to outright painful. Nope. Some men do. Some women as well. Calling it manspreading is because they are ignorant on why men aren't clamping their legs together like women and filtering out women who do the same, because the average woman sits differently but still can take up too much space in a different way, like stretching them in front of her under the seats in front of them, out on the bus aisle, or putting them on the armrests of the person in front of them. Women always see the half-closed legs from men as possible soon to be manspreaders, making them anxious. Also, women can't hate a group as easily that they are a part of, so they do not care as much if they see women taking up too much space in any different way of sitting. It also would be weird calling it manspreading, because man is including in the word, making it hard to use against women, even if it constantly happens, making it quite hypocritical and sexist. It's not less discriminating than any slur against any other group, insinuating bad behavior is only a thing in that group. This is why most people think modern feminism is toxic. I'm fairly certain manspreading is not about men opening their legs. It's about them opening their legs to the point that there's no room for the person sitting beside them, without any regard for that person's comfort. As well as, it's really not one of the main problems feminists tackle. I think sexual assault and FGM take the cake, bud. My first erection happened when I was about 5. My first ejaculation was when I was 12. I was playing with my pee in bed in the dark and my pajamas felt wet. When I switched on the light, I saw my pajamas were absolutely drenched in white liquid. I got a fright and called my mom, who told me to be careful and helped change my clothes. When it happened, I didn't feel any sensation or pleasurable feeling at all. My wife called me one chilly morning, sobbing and in a full panic attack, because our newborn son's balls were gone. She thought she had burst them on accident or something while holding him. That's so cute, lol. Them not understanding that we can't control the initial stream, especially when we wake up. This is why I always sit down. Not worth the risk. Just because you can't control it doesn't give you the right to pee on the floor. That men don't need foreplay before sex, and it should just be as easy as up, in, out.